Hi, I'm JH, and in this video I'll be talking about the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix, the 18th round of the 2022 F1 season. Please note that everything I said is based on facts and of course my opinions. So, without further ado, let's start the video. First of all, let's see some of the news that's been going on before the race. Nick DeVries will be one of AlphaTauri's driver next season. Sadly, Daniel Ricciardo will not be racing in F1 on the 2023 season. And apparently, Alpine paid $10 million to Red Bull for Gasly. I mean, he's a good driver, but personally I'll just wait out his contract rather than paying that sum. Not to mention if it were deducted from the budget cap. And if I'm not mistaken, Gasly and Ocon didn't really have the best relationships. Hopefully the team won't implode next season. Anyway, let's get into the performances. Despite Leclerc getting ahead at the start, Max managed to overtake Charles right at turn 1. Then the red flag came. But even then, after the restart, it looks like no one came close to Verstappen's crazy pace. The race went for 28 laps I think, and Max finished in P1 with a 27-second lead over second place Perez. Oh, and he also clinched the Drivers' Championship on this round, so congratulations. All in all, it's a good race for Sergio. Overtook Sainz and Schumacher, then after that he was pretty much in no man's land for a while, but at the last 5 laps managed to close the gap to Leclerc to round the DRS range. And on the last turn of the last lap of the race, forced Leclerc to make a mistake, leading to a penalty that bumped him up to P2. Ocon had a great quali and race, most notably when he defended against Hamilton on the DRS range until the checkered flag to finish 5th. Excellent performance and result for a Frenchman. Alonso did okay on the race, using a fresher tire. Fernando overtook Latifi and Russell on the final lap and was close to finishing P6 ahead of Vettel, but ended up 7th, only behind him by less than 100th of a second. Leclerc had a better start compared to Verstappen, but lost the lead in turn 1. After the red flag, he seems to be catching up Verstappen for a short while, but gradually fell behind. Then it got worse when Sergio closing up on him at the final few laps. Finally, he made a mistake pushing Perez on the last sector, getting a time penalty and dropped to P3. Sainz was very unlucky on this race. Especially after a decent quality performance, he made a mistake and lost control on the first lap, hitting the barrier, thus resulting in retirement. For the majority of the race, Hamilton was stuck behind Ocon. Even with the DRS, Lewis can't really keep up with Ocon's straight line speed. He ended up finishing P5, which is still pretty good. Russell seems to have brake problems on the race that affected his pace. He was running 7th until Alonso got past him on the final lap, resulting in a P8 finish. Vettel spun on the first turn and had contact with Fernando while trying to overtake the Spaniard early on. Later, he successfully defended against Alonso to finish P6 with a pretty short margin. I mean, considering where he started, Stroll did pretty okay and had some overtakes on Mick, Kevin and Bottas. Lance ended up finishing P12. It finally happened. He finally scored some points this season! Latifi had a great start and was pretty much running comfortably on the top 10 for most of the race. He even held off Lando, whom was within the DRS range, to finish P9. I mean, good job Latifi. Albon had a great start but later bumped to Kevin and had hydraulics problem that forced him to retire on the first lap. Norris had a bad start but made up places when changing the tires right after a restart, moving up to top 10 but failed to get past Latifi and finished 10th in the end. Ricciardo did okay but can't really got inside top 10 throughout the race. He ended up finishing P11. On his home race, Tsunoda managed to gain 4 positions on the opening lap, but then after the red flag restart gradually fell behind, and despite managed to overtake few drivers, he still finished P13. Gasly started from pit lane after changed car components before the race, but first of all I wanted to talk about that crane. Race director is a goddamn insane man to let a crane get into the track when there were still cars running. I don't care if it's inside the safety car period. It may look slow on broadcast, but they were doing close or more than 100 kilometers per hour even on the safety car periods. Not to mention at the time the visibility was extremely poor and the track condition isn't exactly optimal. What were they thinking? Did they want to recreate the Jules incident or what? The FIA needs to address this matter immediately if they wanted to avoid fatal accidents fast. Anyway, back to Pierre. Early on he got advertising board stuck on the front wing and in the end finished P17 but got a 20-second penalty due to speeding after the red flag. Mick gained 5 places in the opening lap and was inside of top 3 while gambling for a cheap stop, but it pretty much backfired and caused him to drop plumb last. In the end, Mick still finished last but moved to P17 after Gasly's time penalty. Kevin gained some positions after the start but fell back due to the incident with Albon. He mostly ran on the lower midfield after the restart and finished the race in P14. Bad start lost Bottas 5 places right at the beginning. After a restart, he mostly ran behind Magnussen until the checkered flag to finish P15. Like Bottas, Zhou also lost 5 positions on the first lap. Then he spun due to a failed attempt to overtake Latifi. On the latter part of the race, he switched to Inters to get past Gasly and Schumacher to finish 16th as well as getting the fastest lap. My best driver for this race is Max because of his error-free race, the insane pace over other drivers that allowed him to finish more than 25 seconds over the second place, and of course clinching the 2022 Drivers' Championship. Here are the standings after the 18th round. Anyway, yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please share, like and subscribe. See you in the next video and yeah, have a nice day.